Are you someone that's been fighting your weight for a long time and you keep trying this diet and it's not working, or you can't stick to it, or you just kind of you find yourself yo-yoing back and forth? And I got some answers for you today. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Jason Pape, chiropractor extraordinaire, bringing you education, information, motivation, inspiration on the regular. Today we're going to talk about diet and nutrition, because the fact is that word holds a lot of different meaning, and a lot of people do a lot of different diets, and the diets are constantly failing them. So we're going to talk about why your diet isn't working and what some of the key takeaways we can do to help you succeed in any kind of weight loss journey. So first of all, again, I'm a chiropractor, functional medicine doctor out here on Long Island. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, helping thousands upon thousands of people. So I'm here to give you guys more help and expertise in a way that can just help me help more people, which is really all I want to do. So let's start talk with the word diet first, right? Because a lot of people hear the word diet and they just think about this fad thing they're doing, right? Or whether it's they're doing the zone diet, or they're doing the Weight Watchers diet, whatever it is. And a lot of these things may help you lose weight, but are we going to get healthy when we do this? And are we actually really losing weight, or are we just playing a game of, yo-yo, basically, where we're constantly going back and forth between weight loss and weight gain? We'll talk a little about that. But first, I'm going to pull up old Merriam-Webster here. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines, your diet as a food or drink regularly provided or consumed. So that when I talk about diet in general, that's what I'm usually talking when I talk about a patient. So when I say, what's your diet look like? I don't want to know what fad you're doing. I want to know what your intake of food looks like. That's what we talk when we talk about diet. That's important to understand. The diet is the food you're intaking on a regular basis. And you can also talk like habitual nourishment, they'll use that. And then there's another version. It's like the kind and amount of food prescribed for a person or animal for a specific reason, or a regimen of eating and drinking sparingly so as to reduce one's weight. That's what going on a diet or a certain type of diet is. So we definitely have to separate those out, right? So again, when I tell someone about what their diet is, again, I'm going to try to talk at a place where we understand what is going in your mouth hole and how that's going to affect your body, and not about this special weight loss regimen fad we're going to do that's going to make you drop all the weight and look the most amazing. All right, we're going to really work on the best way to figure this out together. So I think the biggest thing we have to kind of understand is lifestyle versus a diet, like going on a diet. All right, because at the end of the day, the biggest reason why these things don't work, or why you're constantly yo-yoing, is that you're doing a diet to lose weight so you can go back to your crappy lifestyle, in which part you gain weight again to go on a diet again to lose the weight, and so on and so forth. And the more you do that, the harder it gets. And we'll kind of talk about why that is in a minute. But understand that it's about lifestyle. And the key to any kind of true health and weight loss journey is not doing a diet. It is about having a lifestyle shift. And that your dietary consumption on your lifestyle shift is what you eat all the time, right? Most of us spend most of our time eating a lifestyle of unhealthy food in a short period of time where we jump into dieting so we can go back to our crappy lifestyle again. We got to kind of flip that, right? Just like you flipping the food pyramid around, you're going to flip this around where you have a healthy lifestyle, and then every now and then you may have a blip where you have some food you shouldn't have, and you go right back to your healthy lifestyle. When that happens, guess what you don't do? You're not going to have large weight fluctuations. You're not going to feel like crap all the time. You're going to be healthier overall, and you're going to live a longer, healthier life, right? It's not about lifespan, it's about a health span, right? You can live to 100. They're going to be some very different living to 100 from many different people, right? It's not just about getting there, it's how you get there, right? I want to be a healthy 100 who has this intact, in good shape, who can move around and do things. Not someone who's hooked up to tubes on 1,000 pills that doesn't even know who they are anymore but lives to 100. right? Very different things. The tombstone looks the same, but what happened to that dash is very different, right? So the health span and lifespan, you probably heard those terms before. So the healthy lifestyle with maybe some periods of poor dietary choice is going to get you that health span with your lifespan. All right. You don't want to have to fight for it later, because the more all the things you do now become accumulative later, and you pay for it later. Right. A lot of people spend their life building wealth, ignoring their health, and then spend the last little part of that life spending all their money to chase the health they could have had if they had just been a little bit different focused before. So my goal is, if you wear out your house, where will you live? This is the house, folks, right? So I'm throwing a lot of platitudes at you today, but I understand they all have a meaning to them, and this is why. So lifestyle is the change, and that's why it's hard for people. People like what they like. You like your pizza, your McDonald's, or whatever, and all. Listen, I like junk as much as the next person. It's fun. It tastes good. Like, who doesn't like having a really good cannoli, right? But you can't eat that crap all the time, because you're going to pay for it later. It adds up. Your body's not meant to eat those things. So understand the biggest change we have to make is, what is a lifestyle? And how are you willing to make a healthy lifestyle choice? Because a lot of diets out there are not made for a lifestyle shift. They're made for a temporary thing to make you lose weight so you can go back to your crappy lifestyle. We have to flip that. All right. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, I want you to that's very important. Hit that like or subscribe button. Share this out. So people need to hear this. Okay. And maybe you've heard it before. We'll talk about some of the other fail points that people have. But let's talk about that vicious cycle that people go through and why it becomes harder and harder every time they do this. So a lot of diets out there have to do a lot with calorie restriction. All right. Where you're kind of starving your body a little bit. I'm not talking about intermittent fasting right now, but where you're limiting your caloric intake. Maybe you're eating a little healthier, whatever it may be. And what happens is, when you do things like this, where you lose weight, again, we'll talk about weight versus fat loss, are two different things. Over time, with a lot of these calorie restrictions, especially if you're not doing exercise, eating enough protein, things like that, you will lose protein and fat. And then you'll hit a new set point, if you will, where your body will need, but then when you gain the weight, but if you stop eating like that, eventually your body will put weight back on, and you need less calories to maintain your new weight, and you replace that lost muscle with fat. So there's two pieces here. So let's say, I'm going to make up some numbers here. Let's say you're 200 pounds, and it takes you about, on average, as a sedentary person, you're using about 2,000 calories to maintain your weight. So you calorie restrict. We'll say you go to 1,600 calories, and you start losing weight over time. All right. And you get to, let's say 170 pounds. You lost 30 pounds. You're so happy. Things are fitting differently. You look better. But because you weren't really doing it from a healthy standpoint, you just found one of these things like a Weight Watchers, and it's all about points. And you figured out how to get enough points in the day, and your sources weren't really so healthy and clean, but you got down to 170. Good for you. Okay. So now you're like, all right, well, I'm going to go back. I'm not going to do that diet anymore because I'm done. And you start eating again. Well, you probably lost a good amount of muscle with that fat, right? You didn't lose 30 pounds of fat. You lose 30 pounds. We'll call it a mixed bag of water and muscle and fat. Okay. So you are consuming food again. Calories starting to go back up again, but you don't have to eat. Now, 170 pounds, you only need about 1,700 calories to maintain a sedentary lifestyle. So maybe now you're not playing the counting game. Maybe you're eating a little bit more calories, whatever it is, but you're not eating the cleaner versions anymore. All right. So you're having less, what's the word I'm looking for? Lower density foods. Well, you start seeing your weight starts coming back up. All right. And maybe you're not eating as many calories as you were before when you were 200 pounds. And now it takes less calories to maintain it. So what happens is you have to restrict even more the next time to actually lose weight again. So you can gain weight at a lower calorie diet of unhealthy food, and then the same weight, the same caloric restriction you used in the past won't work. You have to go even lower. And this is a vicious cycle. That's why a lot of these diets don't work the same way the second, third, fourth time, because your body has recomposited itself a little bit differently, and the body has been shown as a new set point. It doesn't need the same amount of calories. It needs a lower caloric restriction to continue to lose more the weight again. So that 1,700 calories ain't going to work for you at 200 anymore. You may have to go to 15 or something like that. And it gets harder and harder. I can't lose the weight like it was. And because you keep losing muscle along with that fat, and then putting fat back and not muscle, we become more inflamed, which makes it harder to lose weight. We have less muscle mass to burn that fat. Muscle is a fat burning machine, and we have less of it, the harder it is to burn fat, right? So you've recomposited yourself the wrong way, even though you took some weight off. So it may be a little confusing concept, but we've seen it in the science, and the research shows us this can happen when you do this kind of yo-yo diets. That's why they don't work. Or you get heavier even more than you were before. Because again, you need less calories to bring you back up. Again, it's about the quality of those calories, right? I'll put that in my notes. We talk about that too. So these are important parts to understand. And this is why it becomes harder over time. So let's talk about weight loss versus fat loss, because I think that's important. Because a lot of us are slaves to a scale. And I'm going to tell you, especially with certain types of lifestyle shifts, the scale will lie to you. And the scale is not everything. Listen, if you're 300 pounds, unless you're 7'2", that is not a healthy weight for most people. And even then, I can't imagine that's a good weight for someone 7'2". You need to be less, right? So the scale has to go down. But it's not really about the number on the scale so much as what you're losing. So when your scale number goes down, when you're doing weight loss, weight is everything. It's all of you, right? It's your fat, it's your water, it's your protein, it's your carbs. It's everything that makes you up goes down, all right? Fat loss is the amount of fat you're losing, all right? Because when you lose weight, when you want to get leaner, you don't want to lose your muscle mass. Muscle is important, right? Sarcopenia is when you lose muscle mass and your muscle wasting. You lose more than 50% of your muscle mass, you will die. Okay? Now, I'm not just making that up. It's not just some BS. It's truth. So it's factual. So understand that we need muscle. All right? We need muscle for a lot of things, but let's just talk about it in the weight loss sense. So do you want to lose 20 pounds of fat, or do you want to lose 20 pounds of everything? Well, a lot of diets out there really don't care about what that breakdown is. They just care that the number is going down. I lost 50 pounds on Weight Watchers or whatever it may be, or Golo or what, I don't know. All this crap out there. Allie, the thing is, they don't care what you're losing. They just care that the number goes down. And most people think that's all that matters. Well, let's understand some things. Muscle weighs more than fat. Muscle takes up less space than fat as well. So let's imagine, and again, a pound of each is a pound of each, but they take up less space, okay? So imagine that you lost 20 pounds of fat, but gained 10 pounds of muscle because you were exercising, eating the right way, and doing the right thing with the right amount of protein and things are coming in. Well, the net scale number is 10. So how do you think you'll look versus the person who just lost 20 pounds? Very different. All right? Very different. And the fact is, that's why we look at inches, not the scale, a lot of times when we do a good, healthy lifestyle shift and we're making changes, because we understand that your body will recomposite itself. And especially if you're doing good, healthy exercise, what we recommend in any kind of weight loss routine is your body will start losing inches and the scale may not move. Because let's say you lost 2 pounds of fat, but gained 2 pounds of muscle. The scale's going to still say the same number, but yet you lost maybe an inch on your waist. Those pants are fitting me differently, but the scale didn't move, right? And when the scale doesn't move, people think things aren't working. It's a very mental, hard thing to look at, especially when people are on the scale every day, right? So if you're going to use a scale, there's some things we should understand too about the scale. You should be using the same scale. You shouldn't be using the scale at home versus the scale at the gym versus your doctor's office or whatever. The same scale, same time of day, usually preferably the morning, same part of the house after going to the bathroom. Okay? That's when you get a real weight, and that's how you can check things differently. And you shouldn't be doing it every day. once a week, twice a week, maybe to show some baby progress. And people's body weight will fluctuate, right? Especially if you're not someone who goes to the bathroom every day. You need to have at least one bowel movement a day. That's healthy. But let's say you're someone who doesn't. Or you do it and you weigh yourself, then you poop out a couple pounds, and you jump, the scale changes, right? You want to get the crap out, literally. So those are some things to think about. Inches are really going to give us, or centimeters, I don't know, wherever you live. That's how you should be looking at your weight loss and understanding how you do, because the scale will lie to you. But it's understand it's not, this is a bigger topic about, some things to do for when you're doing a healthy lifestyle shift. It doesn't mean they're not important here, but understand that we're talking about why your diet isn't working. It's a factor, but it's also about why diets. A lot of these diets don't work because we don't really care about what the quality of the food is. Like Weight Watchers doesn't talk to you about the quality of your food. Again, I'm picking on Weight Watchers because it's a pretty popular one, so I'm sure they'll come after me if they really want to. But when they break it down on points and things like that, it's never really about the quality of the food. It's about what you're allowed to eat to fit this box, right? Or people, I don't know if they do it the same way anymore. There's flex points now. I don't know, but you could save your points, right? I'm allowed, I'm going to make up numbers, 100 points a day, but I want this piece of chocolate cake over the weekend. So that's going to be 50 points. So I'm going to only eat 75 points a day for the next 40 days, and then I can have that extra calories in the weekend. That's not health, folks. All right. The quality of your food is really important. And that's why it gets in the lifestyle shift a little bit more. So hope this is making some sense. And if it is, and you're hearing things a little bit differently, hit that like and subscribe button, please. So understand that there are plenty of diets out there that can be more than a diet. All right. And, some of these things are more easy to maintain. There's very few people I can tell you that I know who've done things like a Weight Watchers that can do that as their lifestyle. And I'll tell you again, it's not a healthiest lifestyle, but they may maintain their weight off. But things like your ketogenic diet, your paleo diet, your carnivore diet, Whole30, some of these diets can be used just like anyone else and be abused as a fad thing you use to shed some weight to get to the place you are so you can go back to your crappy lifestyle. But they really can be true lifestyle shifts. Okay? So that a diet can become a lifestyle as long as you find a healthy version of it and decide to stick with it. Right? Like I'm a high fat paleo, or there's a paleo keto, right? That's the diet that I follow, but I'm not dieting. It's a lifestyle I live. Does that mean I'm perfect all the time? No, I may have a little window here and there where I cheat a little bit. It happens. I'm also gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. Is there an occasional exposure for me? Sure. But I try to live my lifestyle a certain way with little gaps of poor food, not poor food with a lifestyle shift or a diet shift I do to get the weight off and make me feel a little better, and so I can go right back to eating crap all the time. That's the difference, and that's the mindset. So you got to really think about that's the biggest mindset problem. So let's talk about that, though, because that mindset's a big piece of why your diet's failing you. And so let's say you've resolved that you want to lose weight, that you want to be healthier. Because losing weight and healthier are not always the same thing either, by the way. All right, we conflate the two. And a lot of times there's overlap in that Venn diagram that is those two things, but they are not the same. So, but let's talk about that. So you're ready to make a lifestyle change. You've listened to what I said and you said, you know what, Doc? I'm done with dieting. I want to find a healthy lifestyle type of diet so I can be healthier and lose some weight, maintain my muscle, lose fat, and be just a better version of me physically. And I've done those things. I made those decisions before. I've heard these things before, but I just can't get it done right. Well, there's two things that we have to think about that may be failing you as well. Tools and motivation. There's a third piece which will come back, but that's a little bit more metabolic. So a lot of people know what to do, but they don't have either the right motivation, support staff, whatever it is to stay on track. Or some people have the good willpower and things like that, but they have no idea what to do. They don't have the tools. So those are some two big fail points I see for people, is that they have one, not the other, or neither. All right? So it's important when it comes to the tools is to figure out what kind of lifestyle change you're going to make. Figure out what that is that will work best for you. and then know what you need to do it. Meaning the food you're going to need to buy. Like if let's say today is Sunday, and people like to start their diets on Monday. I think it's ridiculous. Start any day you want, but let's say it's a Sunday and you say, I'm going to start on Monday morning. Excuse me. And I'm going to do my diet or my lifestyle change. We're not going to use the word diet, and I'm going to get healthier tomorrow. Okay, great. Are you ready? Do you have the things in the house that you need to start that healthy lifestyle? Do you say, hey, I really think paleo is a good fit for me, and I'm gonna start living more of that lifestyle? Do you know what that even is? Do you know enough of what it is to know what you can and can't eat, or should and shouldn't eat? Let's say you want to be gluten-free. Do you know where gluten comes from? Do you know what has gluten in it? Do you know what things? Have you looked to say, wow, gluten's in more things than I realized, or dairy's in more things, or soy's in more things, right? Did you? Right. So from a tool standpoint, do you have those things? Let's say you want to be gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. Like, okay, well, that's great. I know what not to eat, but what am I going to eat? There's a lot to eat, but maybe you don't have the right tools. And maybe that tool isn't the tool. Like, I know what I can't eat. I have a pretty decent idea of what I can eat, but I'm really not great about making it viable for me to stick to. Like, it's just only a few things I eat, and I need more variety. Well, do you have the right coach to stick along with you to answer questions? Do you have the right person to help you with some meal planning or dietary change so you can actually make it fit your lifestyle? Like, hey, I really like this food, but it's my downfall. When I see this food, I have to eat it, or I really miss this thing, and that's why my diet's failing me. Well, all right, is there a healthier, cleaner alternative to fit the lifestyle shift you want that maybe of this? Maybe there is. Like, there's plenty of gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free things I've found that I can eat. Not all of them are healthy, by the way. Just because they're gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free doesn't make them healthy. It just means they're cleaner for the type of lifestyle shift I have. I'm not sitting here eating those healthy, but if I say I wanted I'm at a party and there's like a piece of cake that I want to eat and it's full of gluten, well, I'm not going to eat that. But if someone brought a gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free cake, well, now I can have a little bit of cheat with my sugar and fat, but I'm not going to have all the bad, things I need. Having the understanding that, or making what you can make at home to make yourself an alternative. Keto is a tough one for a lot of people. They don't realize how much fat they truly have to eat. And it's a lifestyle that is hard for people to maintain. I maintain it pretty well, but I've been doing it a long time, and I decided that's a lifestyle I want to live. But it's about knowing what you're getting yourself into and making sure you have all the right tools and people around you, team too. And that sometimes is support. Sometimes it's family. Like, if you're a large person and everyone in your family is heavy, and you decide to make a change, a lot of times those people around you will not necessarily be the most supportive people, because people don't like being uncomfortable in the lifestyle they've chosen, and they see you as part of their comfort zone, and all of a sudden that person is changing and they're seeing this person losing weight and feeling healthier, and then you're sitting there and you're happy. You don't want to do those things. You're going to say things to that person, or maybe not do the right supportive piece, because that person makes you feel uncomfortable, right? Claw that person back to the norm. So you gotta understand, what's your support system around you, and do you need more help outside of that? And that's where it kind of bleeds into motivation. So a lot of people just have poor willpower, or they don't have the right support system around them. And that's maybe you need more of a coach or a mentor as well to help do this with you. Maybe it's a buddy that does this lifestyle shift with you, a friend, a support system, or like someone like a nutritionist or someone that you trust to work alongside you to help you find the right foods, to encourage you along the way, right? Those are those kinds of things that can be helpful too. Someone to help you hold accountable that's not in your group of people that are all very similar, right? Like I'm picturing like the clumps sitting around the table of Dr. Dolittle, and like one of them deciding to go on a diet, lifestyle shift and lose weight, how the other people probably would like, we got to fatten you up, or you know what I mean? Things like that. Like, you don't need that. That doesn't mean you don't see your family anymore, but you have to understand where that's coming from. And it's not about you, it's about them. But why it makes them uncomfortable, and pulling you back down makes them feel more comfortable. Some people just need more help. And that may be where you need things like hypnotherapy. Someone to work with you on those negative beliefs or things underneath that maybe have been bred into you by people talking to you your whole life about weight, or maybe you hold weight for other reasons. You know, I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole, but there are plenty of women specifically that hold weight because they had some kind of trauma to them when they were younger. And the statistics of people that are abused sexually, especially at a young age, especially from women, is staggering. And when you think about that, some people hold weight because it's protection. Some people, because it protects them, even if it's not something consciously they're thinking about anymore, something subconsciously that may have happened to them when they were younger, or it gives them some secondary gain. There's some benefit they get to being there. Those are the psychological pieces that you need sometimes to work on, and you need to find the right person to work with to do those things too. I think things like hypnosis or other things you do to help clear subconscious blocks can help you, because you may want something, but if your subconscious is telling your brain a different story, those conscious things you want may just bounce off. And you find the willpower falls off over time. And listen, at some point, you have to decide you want different for yourself. And then maybe a block's holding you back. And some people think they want those things, but they may not want them so much. If you're going on a journey of shifting your lifestyle because you want change versus someone telling you need to change are different, right? This is why things like smoking and hypnosis can work for some people, but not others. And here's why. So let's say you're a smoker, and your wife or significant other or someone is saying to you, listen, you need to stop smoking or I'm done with you, or for your health or whatever. And you're like, all right, honey, I love you. I'll stop smoking. But you really don't want to stop, because it wasn't something you really want or believed. Someone else was kind of telling you and you didn't really have the buy-in. Guess what? It'll bounce off. Eventually it won't work or it won't last. Same thing with food. If you're not really changing your lifestyle to change it, you're just losing weight because you're tired. Someone told you you're fat, or you want to fit in something for an event, or someone's telling you, the doctor saying you need to lose weight for your health, and you don't really want to do that. You might feel okay, but the numbers in the blood work don't say so. That motivation may not work or hold, and that's when people find that diet, right? Oh, I gotta get skinny for this wedding, or I gotta, whatever it may be. You got to do the things. Well, part of the problem is you're doing it for an event and not for a lifestyle. And that's when you jump into these diets. And then you wonder why the weight comes right back on. I look so good. I want to have my summer bod. That's great, but why do you have a winter bod? Right? What are we doing here? And then there's a third piece that we didn't really talk about, is the metabolics. So there are things that go on inside our bodies, so we can have the right tools, we can have the right motivation, do all the right things, and maybe we hit a wall or we just don't lose like we think we should lose. Well, there's that other piece. Now, again, we talked before about if you've done a lot of yo-yoing, why that may be a part of the issue. But there's other things that go on there, right? There could be medications you're on that are definitely messing you up, messing with your metabolism. There could be inflammation. So inflammation is a big one. A lot of us sit around inflamed. And inflammation is going to make you hold weight. And guess what? Adipocytes, the fat cells, shed inflammatory markers, right? There are foods we eat that are extremely inflammatory. So even if you're eating what people consider healthy, which that word is such a garbage can, people don't know what healthy really is, that are full of things like seed oils or things like that, they look healthy or they're promoted as healthy. You think you're being healthier, yet you're sitting more in inflammation still. Good luck with weight loss, right? You're doing all the things, right, that are supposed to be healthy for you, or you think might be, and you're not losing weight because your inflammation is up too high. And there could be other inflammatory problems like autoimmune, things like that. But again, are you fixing those things? What's your gut health like? That's another thing, right? You are what you eat is a saying we all know, but it's not really about what you eat. It's about what you absorb. So it's about you are what you absorb. So let's say you're eating all the right foods, yet you're not losing weight. Are you absorbing the nutrients you're taking in? Are you feeding bad guys in your gut that are spewing inflammation into your body and breaking that stuff down and bloating you? Are you eating, cleaner, but having gluten, dairy, soy, or other foods that maybe you have an intolerance for? And they're just causing more inflammation, histaminic response, that's causing more problems? All factors to take into account. And then we get into hormones, right? Is your thyroid, what your body's do? So by the way, we've had these conversations. Your thyroid is usually not your problem. It's usually what your body does with your thyroid hormone once it leaves the thyroid. But if your numbers are off and your body is, over converting to the wrong version, and your body's lower thyroid functioning in the way of how it's doing downstream, that's going to make you hold weight. That's going to make you more depressed, have less motivation in general, maybe make you too tired to go work out and things like that. If you're a woman of a certain age, your hormones have dropped off. Even men after andropause, right? For men, where the testosterone drops, those things are going to be factors, right? And again, as you gain weight in your belly, especially men, a lot of men, when they put on weight, where they put it in their bellies, right? How many times you've seen a guy in his 50s who looks like he's stealing a basketball or he's 9 months pregnant, right? And men don't get pregnant, just so you know. But the fact is, that's fat in bloating, right? But that fat in that visceral adipose tissue will turn testosterone into estrogen. And men, you don't need that much estrogen. And they'll turn the estrogen, will force your body to lay down more visceral adipose tissue, which turn more of your testosterone to estrogen. See the vicious cycle, especially as we get older, that happens. And men's cholesterol goes down, right? It goes up, right? So we better lower that cholesterol, but cholesterol is how you make testosterone and other sex hormones. So we lower your cholesterol, tell you not to eat fat, you're eating carbs, which make you fatter. And then you're taking these meds, which will impair your hormones, sex hormones, and now you can't burn fat the same way. You're putting more fat on you because your hormones are all out of whack. See how the med angle messes it all up too? It's a big mess. And there's even other diseases like lipidemia, things like that, but we won't get into those today. But in general, there are some metabolic factors we have to take into account, but a lot of those metabolic factors hit us later in life due to poor lifestyle change over many years, toxifying a system to cause fail points to occur, which allows us to have more problems with those systems. Your inflammation hormones, all those, the medication you've needed, have all added up over the years, all right, to make your problems worse, that it makes it even harder to lose the weight, that are now making your problems even worse because they're a vicious cycle. Okay? So these are some things that we have to consider all the time. That's why sometimes it's not enough just to make a lifestyle change, but we may need certain supplements to help us as well. So where are the fail points in our nutrition? Are we getting enough nutrition into our food? Our food is way over farmed. Our soil, I should say, is over farmed. We don't have the same, a piece of broccoli today is not going to have the same level of nutrition in as it did 1,000 years ago. It's also not going to have the same level of nutrition depending where it's grown in this country, even on this island. It varies. So a lot of times, get as much as you can from the whole food, but support with supplements when you need some other things. They're to supplement the lifestyle. And sometimes those fail points are making you be more inflamed or not lose the weight. So there's definitely some things we can give naturally to support the body's systems, help them modulate and work better to better function, like methylation, things like that, to help us really detox and lose weight. And again, toxins hold things in. What's your load exposure bin of garbage and stuff in the past? Well, animals like to store toxins in fat. And the body has to kind of if you're too toxic, guess what you're not going to lose? You're too inflamed, and your body's holding toxin in that fat storage. Good luck jumping it out. And if you do, you got to be careful because that toxic load goes right back in the body. You got to be able to assimilate and filter through your liver and your kidneys and get it out. And that's why you need to be going and peeing it all the time and drinking enough water to dilute those toxins and pooping daily at least once to get things out. And that's why some of these other drugs that people use to lose weight, you have to be very careful with for a couple of reasons. One, they may dump a lot of fat quickly, which dumps a lot of toxic loads. What your toxic load was leading up to that, who knows? How are we going to filter and funnel that out? Especially when some of these GLP-1s that will slow down your gastric emptying. But two, things like the GLP-1 semaglutide and the dual agonist ones like the tirzepatide, they really have a lot of issues where people lose a lot of fat. They lose a lot of muscle too. There's a lot of muscle wasting, so it's very important that you're eating enough protein on those lifestyle shifts. And again, a lot of people don't change their lifestyle. They're just eating less because the drug's allowing them to. They're not eating healthier. So you're either going to be stuck on these drugs forever, or if you want to come off of them, if you don't have the lifestyle in place, guess what you're going to do? You're going to right back up. And you're going to amplify that yo-yo diet problem because now you've really artificially lowered your caloric intake to get your body to have a new set point where it needs less calories to maintain. You burned all your muscle, and then when you gain back that food, it's going to be fat. It's going to be even harder the second time around, and then you want it back in the drug or the drugs. We don't want that. And definitely don't go the phentermine type route of stimulants, where they're just supercharging your system in fight or flight, if you will, to force it to burn more. All right, that in the long term will cause more cortisol issues and things like that, and also will burn your adrenals out, and also cause more fat later on too, because now you have this adrenal fatigue and then this belly that comes on from fat from cortisol. Those are not the right answers either. So the really question comes down to is, let's sum it up here for you. That what is your goal? And I will tell you that if your goal, we said before, there's weight loss versus fat loss. We understand, but what do you want to be? Skinnier or healthier and skinnier? Is it not the same thing? And I'll give you a great example of that. You can do a ketogenic lifestyle. And keto, really, the only tenets of keto that are out there that's universal is high fat, low carb, moderate protein. I just told you the macros, basically, of what to do to be in that lifestyle shift to burn fat. But I did not tell you anything about what the quality of that food is, right? I'm just saying fat, protein, carbs, 80% fat, or 75%, 85%, 75 to 80% fat, 15 to 20% protein, 5% net carb. That's keto. You do those parameters, you can lose weight. But what does that mean? Do you want to be a skinny fat person, or do you want to be a skinny person? So basically what that means is that the quality of those calories, because you can go into McDonald's today and get a cheeseburger and take the bun off and don't have any ketchup, and you've got your keto, but you ain't healthy. And just because you're losing weight doesn't make you healthy. It's not just that you lost weight, it's about what you did to get there. And yes, listen, if you were 500 pounds and you did a really horrible lifestyle and still got to 200 pounds, yes, you're going to have some health benefits because you lost all that weight. But there's going to be other problems too. You're not going to be the healthiest individual. My goal is to help you get there naturally and healthily. And the fact is, we're not meant to eat the way we eat. Okay? And the more you divert from what we are genetically and how we evolved, the more the body will hit fail points, the more the body will start to hold weight, become more inflamed, develop more diseases, all right, as we adapt until we can't adapt anymore. Or we adapt in a way that, but we call it maladaptation. There's no such thing as maladaptation. It's a lens we put on an adaptation to say whether we like that adaptation or not, right? So for an example, we are hunter-gatherers that had times of no food. We don't not have food anymore unless you purposely fast, right? So we've changed how we bring calories in. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the breakdown of it. And we expect our bodies to react differently, but we're built to not do that. We're built to have food and not have food. We're built to burn glucose and ketones, not just burn glucose all the time. All right? So if you do that over time, the body is going to adapt to that. And if you think about our ancestors, a lot of times when we had excess calories, we would store it somewhere. When we're burning glucose, we're going to store it because eventually we're going to run out of food and we have to go to fat burning, ketosis. Well, if we don't ever run out of food, that adaptation will now become a maladaptation because now you're 350 pounds because your body kept storing, right? Now, it's hard to get 350 even if you're eating calories on a regular basis. Those calories are, fish, oil, beef, pork, fruits and vegetables, some nuts and seeds with a nice balance. Because that's how we're supposed to eat. When you're eating a lot of processed foods and sugars and carbs, and you're not eating fat because fat's supposed to be bad for you and all these things, and you shift what we're eating, not just how we're eating, and this weird thing, and you wonder why the fat just keeps adding on, why the disease keeps happening. Our bodies do our best to adapt to what you're doing to it. We may not like what it does, but it's what it does. It's doing what it can, and then eventually it hits a fail point, and then you get disease number 1, disease number 2, disease number 3, whatever it may be, whatever's behind the door for you there, Monty Hall. Okay. So it's really important to understand that you need to make a lifestyle change, not a diet, and that lifestyle change, well, it could be a diet that you do adapt to a lifestyle, has to be clean. It has to have be a cleaner, healthier place it's coming from to maintain the best version of you. And then we want to do some exercise, right? Resistance exercise is important, especially as you get older, for maintaining your muscle mass, because muscle gets turned over into fat as we age. To maintain your bone density, we need weight training, weighted things to maintain bone density. And when those hormones shift, we have to be able to support that. But like, exercise is important. Now listen, 10, maybe 20% of your weight loss or fat loss is going to be through exercise. Most of it's about what goes in the mouth hole. So figure out what's going to go in that pie hole of yours, in that pie. And the best thing that might fit a new lifestyle for you, do you have the right tools around and tools to do this? Are you prepared? Have you found the healthier versions of those things? Are you taking the right nutritional supplementation to support that? Is your gut really where it needs to be to help this? Do you have other metabolic issues that need to be addressed or supported? And do you have the right motive people around you and support system, or the right belief system, and even on yourself, to get there? Those are the things you have to kind of ask yourself. And once you have that checklist figured out, now you can really make a true shift that works for you, and then your diet becomes a lifestyle, and you're not chasing the next trend and going back to a crappy lifestyle to maintain, to then go back to a diet to kind of get back to this weight you want to be at occasionally, right? Listen, if you weigh 200 pounds and you try to get to 180 on a here and there with your diet, you're 200 pounds. You're just powering 180, right? So I want 180 pounds. Well, that's great, but unless you change your lifestyle, you're only going to be there for a little while. You're borrowing that. You're a 200 pounder. Does that make sense? And how we get there is really important. So make a decision of how you want to make a lifestyle shift. Choose what might be the best fit for you. Do the research. Make sure you're ready to do it when you're ready to do it. You have the right foods available to you. You're finding clean sources of those foods. You're actually going to be healthier at the end, not just smaller. That you're doing some exercise of some sort to make sure we don't lose our muscle mass, that we make sure we find any other weaknesses we might have, whether it's doing some blood work to figure it out, whether we may work with a healthy practitioner to get some other nutritional supplements we need. Do we have some other things to support a natural, healthy weight loss? Do we fixing your gut? Are we lowering inflammation? And do I have the people around me that are helping lift me up or drag me down? How I can mitigate that? And what are my own self-thoughts and beliefs telling me that I have to work on as well? And then I'm going to make sure I have the tape measure, not just the scale, to help me understand my weight loss journey, and that I'm trying to lose fat, maintain my muscle, and actually be a healthier version. So when I come out of this at the end, that new weight I have is a healthy, maintainable weight with a lifestyle you can do and continue, so you stay there all the time and are not constantly chasing the next fad. With that, I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you guys maybe look at lifestyle and change and diet a little bit different. And as always, I'm bringing you education, information, motivation, inspiration on the regular. If you'd like to find a way to work with me, drop a comment below. And hopefully we'll see you all in the next video. Again, hit that like and subscribe button. See you again soon. Have a healthy day.